The wilderness was quiet in the early morning, the kind of quiet that makes every sound feel sacred. Israel had only recently learned what it meant to live with God dwelling among them. At the center of the camp stood the tabernacle, its curtains glowing faintly in the rising light. It was the place where heaven brushed the earth. Inside, the air still carried the memory of a miracle. Only days earlier, Aaron and his sons had completed their ordination as priests. On the 8th day, as the people watched, fire had come down from heaven and consumed the offering on the altar. It was God's way of saying, "I am here. I accept you. This is my fire." That fire was not just symbolic. It was holy. It was the fire the priests were commanded to use for every act of worship. It was the flame of God's presence. Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's eldest sons, had stood there when it happened. They had seen the divine fire blaze. They had felt the awe ripple through the camp. They had been chosen to serve closer to God than anyone except their father. But something in them shifted. Perhaps it was pride. Perhaps excitement. Perhaps the dangerous feeling that comes when someone stands too close to glory and forgets it is not their own. They took their censers, polished bronze bowls meant to carry burning coals. They placed incense inside, watching the smoke curl upward. But the coals they used were not taken from the altar God had ignited. They used their own fire, ordinary fire, human fire, fire that had no place in the holy sanctuary. They stepped into the tabernacle. Outside, the people sensed something was wrong, though no one could name it. Inside, the incense rose, but it did not carry the scent of obedience. It was worship on their own terms, not God's. And then the air changed. From the inner presence of God, a flame shot forth, sharp, controlled, precise. It did not scorch the curtains. It did not burn the altar. It touched only the two men who had crossed the boundary between reverence and presumption. In an instant, Nadab and Abihu fell, their censers clattering to the ground. The same fire that had blessed Israel now judged its priests. Outside, Aaron stood frozen. His sons, his firstborn, his pride, were gone. Moses approached him gently, carrying a message that felt like both explanation and wound. "Among those who draw near to me, I will be sanctified." Aaron said nothing. His silence was the silence of a father and a priest, a man who understood that holiness is not a casual thing. Their bodies were carried away, still wearing their priestly garments. The camp watched in stunned quiet. The message was unmistakable. God's nearness is a gift, but it must be honored. And so Israel learned a hard truth that day. The fire of God can warm, guide, and bless, but it can also purify with a severity that leaves no room for pride.